Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? When I was trying to get my podcast off the ground, I had a lot of questions like, how do I record an episode? How do I get my show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all the other places people like to listen to? And how do I make money from my podcast? The answer to every one of those questions is really simply Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, guys, it is 100% free and it's ridiculously easy to use. And now Anchor can match you with great sponsors too, so you can get paid to do your podcast. I record my podcast, The Live Past Crazy Show, in my own time when I'm comfortable. I love that it's on my phone and it doesn't require a lot of extra equipment. So if you've always wanted to start a podcast, make money doing it, go to anchor.fm/start to join me and a diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. Again, that's anchor.fm/start, and I can't wait to hear your podcast. Good morning, guys. Good morning. I was going to try to, but that's okay. Good morning. Let me share this. Good morning. Welcome to the Fearless Morning Show, where we are having confessions and conversations about your everyday life. My name is Yamitra Jojo Wadera, the only Live Past Crazy Specialist. So what better place to be than here with me, y'all? This is what I put on every morning. This stuff. And you know where I get it? At my local Dollar Tree. Works amazing. Works amazing. Good morning, and how do you do? Woo, woo. Morning, Tiffany. Good morning, Tiffany. I'm gonna want some teas and juices like you've been making. Can I get some from you? Am I gonna be forced to make it myself? Can I call in a friend? Can I phone a friend and ask for some? I just want to know. Or at least show me how. I saw your recipe, but at least show a sister how. Good morning. But yeah, so I was showing y'all this right here. This is what I put on my hands in the morning. Can you see without the glare? I get this at the Dollar Tree. It is the best moisturizer you will ever find. And I'm picky about lotions. I'm really picky. So, y'all, if you missed the show yesterday, we had a good time. We talked about my hot pink story. Hopefully y'all learned something about JoJo you didn't know. I hope it was fun for you. Okay, Tiffany, that works. I hope you guys enjoyed the show yesterday. Hope you enjoyed the show Monday. We're not living in perfection. We're not counting a nose. We're not doing that. So let's go right into the quote for the day. And it is by Rosa Parks. Good morning, Kimberly. It says, I have learned over the years that when one's mind is made up, this diminishes fears. Knowing what must be done does away with fear. That's by Miss Rosa Parks. And y'all, there's nothing like a made up mind. Like, once you make up your mind, that's it. Thank you, Tiffany. I appreciate it. Once you made up your mind, it's just certain certainties that are firm and you're not moving on that anymore. Like, I've made up my mind. This is what I'm going to do. I've made up my mind. This is how I'm going to be. And so I love that. I've learned over the years that when one's mind is made up, this diminishes fear. Knowing what must be done does away with fear. Now, I ain't going to say you ain't going to be fearless. It's going to make it easy to move through your fear because you are insisting on getting to here. Because what our destiny is not changing at all whatsoever. So that's the main thing. All right, so let's get right into the thought of the day. The thought of the day, y'all, is breathe and stop. Y'all remember that song? And give me what you got. Okay, so I can't sing and I got the beat off, but y'all know what I'm talking about. Breathe and stop and give me what you got. Who sung that song? It's on my playlist on my YouTube. But I love that song. So today, that's what we're going to do. We're going to breathe and stop and give me what you got. Y'all know I'm a nerd science person. And I don't know where this come from because I used to hate science. Well, I didn't hate it. I just wasn't a fan of it. But most women, most of us, we don't breathe. And we're not breathing. And us not breathing increases our chances of having an anxiety attack. It increases our chances of stress. It increases all kinds of things. And we're not about that life. So we're going to breathe and stop. So let's go right into that today. So, and I had to write this out. Stop and think about what you're capable of achieving. Up to now, your capacity has been constrained with your inner struggles. Imagine what would happen if your awareness was free to focus. Stop and think about what you're capable of achieving. Number one. Stop and think about what you're capable of achieving. Up to now, your capacity has been constrained by your inner struggles. That means you've been stressing yourself out. And because you have stressed yourself out or you have insisted on your own limitations, you have not been able to focus on anything that you're good at. You haven't been able to focus on any of your strengths. You haven't been able to do the things that's true to who you are because here's the thing. This is what I came to realize. I assumed that I didn't have time. There was no place for me to stop life because I had to react to what was going on right now. I had to constantly be aware that I was in crisis mode right now. And everything that was happening right now demanded my full attention at all times. I assumed that. And when I did that, I was in a constant struggle because I was never seeing my full capacity because I was assuming what was happening right now was all I could focus on. And to a certain extent, y'all, good morning, Leah. To a certain extent, you have to pay attention to life. You have to do those things. But there's going to come a time, and I got a question for you in just a second. There's going to come a time where you're going to have to breathe and stop and give yourself what you got. Okay? I may not be a rapper over here, but you got my point. You have to breathe and stop and see what are you doing for yourself that is causing this constant chaos and crazy and crisis. What is causing that? So your capacity has been constrained by your constant inner struggles. And your constant inner struggles could be you forgot how powerful you were. You have gotten caught up in all your titles and you are living true to that. You don't want to do nothing else because you don't understand. I got to take care of my family. I got to do this. So you're not even pretending that you have any other capabilities at all. Okay? So your capacity to move and handle anything else is short. And that's how we can say we have the patience like this when it comes time to deal with stuff. Like I have no patience. Could it be that your capacity has been constrained by your constant inner struggles? So you can't say what you're capable of because you have so many inner struggles going on. Who am I? What am I doing? How am I doing it? Why am I doing it? Who said I could do it? I ain't good enough. I don't have the power to do it. I don't have the direction to do it. I don't have the answer to do it. All of that is a constant inner struggle. So you're never moving at your full capacity. You ain't even moving. You ain't moved yet though. You ain't went nowhere. You have allowed all of your constant inner struggles to constrain you, confine you. And you, which brings me back to the quote today, you have made up your mind that you have no capacity to achieve anything. You are bound and determined that your capacity for life, your capacity to dream doesn't exist. You've made your mind up about that. and you are comfortable with living with that. I need to write this down. Some people are comfortable living with their fears. That's good. Some people are comfortable living with their fears. Is that not true? Good morning, Kiva. Some people are comfortable living with their fears. They are proud that they have this thing, this problem, so that they can't go nowhere, they can't move, they can't do nothing. They are glad, and they are holding on to that fear for dear life. Because if that fear goes away, then the concept of who they are goes away, and then the reality of them having to do something about the thing now becomes something they have to address, and they don't want that. And as long as I can hold on to this fear, as long as I can make it great, then I don't have to do anything. Then that fear can be my life. Then that fear I can allow it to overwhelm me and cause my chaos and my crazy. I can allow it to give me a panic attack. I can allow it to stress me out. I can allow it to give me a migraine and headache. I can allow it for me never to see where I'm supposed to go and my dreams I'm supposed to achieve, because you're holding on to that fear for dear life. I just got my whole life right there. Some people are comfortable living with their fears. Girl, what you say? Some people are comfortable living with your fears. Stop and think about what you're capable of achieving. Up to now, your capacity has been constrained by your inner struggles. Imagine what would happen if your awareness was free to focus. Yeah, and that comes from my wonderful book, The Untethered Soul. I read this book almost every day, even if it's just like a paragraph or a sentence. Because even though I've read it 20 times, there's always something in here that gets me. It says, when a person is dealing with their own fears and anxiety and desires, how much energy is left for dealing with what's actually happening in their life. Stop and think about what you're capable of achieving. Up to now, your capacity has been constrained by your constant inner struggles. Imagine what would happen if you were free to focus. What would happen if you released yourself of that fear? What would happen if you looked at your own capacity and your own capabilities and decided they did not exist today? I don't have limits just for an hour. I don't have any limits on my thought process. Just for this next 20 minutes, I'm going to allow my free will, my free thought to go and be. So here's a question to think about. Are you dedicated to removing distractions and mental clutter so that you can concentrate on the clarity on the real issue? So that you can concentrate with clarity on the real issue. Meaning, are you willing to look at what is causing your chaos and your crazy? Are you willing to look at what is causing that inner struggle and then getting clarity on what you're going to do about it? Are you dedicated to that part of it? Because if you're not, breathing and stopping ain't going to work for you, boo. You're going to take you remember when you was a kid, you got a whooping from your mama? And she tore that butt up and you cried and you couldn't catch your breath. Your chest hurt, but you couldn't breathe because you couldn't decide what was greater, the pain that you were in or the pain to breathe. Y'all been there before? And then she said, breathe before I give you something, or cry before I give you something to cry about, or do it again. So you know how they used to give you those little threats, those little things? Hold on, Keeper. Thank you, Keeper. Hold on 1 second. There you go. All right. Now can you hear me? Thank you, Keeper. I just now saw that. Remember that? So that's where you are. You are right there with your inner struggles and your capacity to go and be. You're right there where life is tearing your behind up. And you really want to breathe, but you can't decide what's more important. Living, doing what you need to do, or going on to pursue your dreams, because we're walking in our purpose, not perfection. And so you're caught right there. You're caught right there. So what does that look like? Are you dedicated to removing distractions and mental clutter so that you can concentrate with clarity on the issue? Which brings us to breathe and stop. Stop and think about what you're capable of achieving. We put so many limits. Y'all, can we do something together? Can we write out all our limitations that we put on ourselves every second of the day? Can we do that? Can we write that out? And then look at what we are limiting ourselves with every day. What are we limiting ourselves from every day? So if you could do this one thing, what would it be? If you didn't have this limitation of your constant inner struggles, what would you do? If you didn't have this limitation of I ain't got no money thinking, because that's a y'all, when I learned that was a thinking problem, things begin to change. What if you didn't say that today? I don't have enough money. What would you do? What if you didn't say, I don't have, JoJo, I ain't smart enough to do that? What if you said, I am so blankety blank smart, I can do this today? What if we wrote out our limitations that we give ourselves every morning before we even leave the house? Before we even leave the house, we give ourselves so many limitations. It's a wonder we can't, that's why we can't move. That's why your shoulders hurt, your back hurt, your neck, you got migraines. You done strapped on restrictions, honey, you ain't putting on the whole armor of the Lord. You putting on the whole armor of your restrictions. You putting the whole armor of all your problems and everything else. That's what you putting on. That's why it's difficult, because of what you're wearing. That's why it's hard. You are insisting on wearing something, carrying something that is not yours to carry. You were not meant for all of that. And it all begins here. This is your superpower. Remember we talked about that. This is your superpower, what's in between here. So if I'm always going to think I got a money problem, guess what I'm always going to have? If I think I can't do something, guess what I'm always going to get? And here we go, don't count a no we've never received. If I know she ain't going to help me, what am I always going to receive? If I know I'm never going to be this great thing, guess what I'm never going to be? So every morning when you're getting dressed, y'all, I want you to literally think about this, because this is literally what we're doing. You just can't physically see it, but this is literally what you're doing in your mind, okay? It's that simple. This is what you're doing in your mind. When you get up every morning, you put on your limitations like you put on your undergarments, like you brush your teeth, like you wash your face, like you do your hair. You are putting on your limitations, and you are insisting that they become a part of your outlook, of your uniform, of what makes JoJo. Why is that? Because some people are comfortable living with their fears. You have gotten so used to the weight of your fear. You've gotten so used to the weight of your anxiety, your chaos, your stress. You don't know how not to put it on. And that's an okay place to be, because one, now we come to the thinking question, are you dedicated to removing the distractions and the mental clutter? Are you dedicated to that part? Because when you become dedicated to that part, then you pay attention to what you put on every day. Every morning, brothers, every morning, sisters, you set the tone for your house. Every day, JoJo Waddell sets the tone for the Waddell household. How I wake up is how the rest of my house is going to move and go. Me alone, set the tone for my house. If I am my house, I set the tone for this house. I set the tone whether I'm going to be happy, whether I'm going to be sad, whether I'm going to be having an anxiety attack, whether I'm going to be stressed, whether I'm going to be depressed, happy, sad, mad, glad. I set the tone. Every day. Every day you set that tone. And if you are insisting on holding on to your fears because you're comfortable with them, because you can't possibly think that you could have a life without them. So let's go back to us mentally putting on our restrictions every morning. So when you get up, so let's go through this and y'all participate on y'all end. If you care to share, great. Let me show you what JoJo does. And let me show you, honey, I used to do it. And sometimes I still do, and I got to check myself. But the more you start to do it, the easier it is for you to check yourself, okay? All right, I get up and I sit on the side of the bed. I said, Lord God, my back is hurting. That's one thing I put on. And I get up and I go in the bathroom and I have my bonnet on. And instantly when I see myself in the mirror, I say, oh God, you didn't do your hair last night. I'm so sick of this hair, I might as well cut it off. And that's number 2. And then I brush my teeth and I said, Lord, look at these bumps on my face. I ain't ever gonna have clear skin. That's number 3. And then I go into my closet and I said, I don't have nothing to wear. Mind you, I have 4 closets full of clothes, not including what's in boxes and stuff. I ain't ever gonna have no clothes, and this doesn't look right on me. And I am putting on my limitations as I'm getting ready for the day. And I'm already setting the tone for my house. This house. I'm setting the tone for this house to have a miserable day. And then when I'm fully dressed, I can't find a jewelry. I don't ever have no nice jewelry. So now here I am doing that. I'm getting ready. Oh, I don't have lunch. I don't have money for lunch. Lord, what am I going to eat? I guess I'm going to be hungry all day. Well, I know I'm going to get a headache when I do that. I know this is going to happen. And here I am, steadily adding on my limitations. How many I'm up to? About 15. I ain't even stepped foot out the house, and I got 15 limitations I just strapped on my shoulder. 15 of them. And then when I put on my shoes, oh, I hate my shoes. I ain't never going to have no nice shoes. But if I could just lose a little weight, then I could probably go down in shoe size. If I could lose a little weight, then I could buy better clothes. If I could lose a little weight, then my face would clear up. If I could lose a little weight, then I wouldn't have this. If I could, and you see how fast we adding these limitations on, and I ain't even walked out the front door. Then when I get in the car, the heat won't start, the air won't come on, the radio, the check engine light, and I got all the limitations of that. Then when I get to work, I don't like my job. I don't like this. I don't like the people I work with. And we've got to be up to 75 limitations that we have gotten, and it ain't even 9 o'clock yet. And I have dressed myself with limitations. And this is what happens. You do that every day. And you never stop and think. You never become dedicated to removing the distractions of yourself. You're insisting on living in that chaos. You ain't looking at your capabilities because you want to stay in that constant inner struggle. And so here you are, by 9 o'clock, you are mentally exhausted. And not mention physically exhausted. You don't even have the energy to do your work. Then you interact with folk at work. They add more limitations onto you. Because now you're talking about what you thought here. Now you're talking about it with everybody else. Now we got a pity party. And there you go down the rabbit hole. By 10 o'clock, you have insisted and you have convinced yourself that life is horrible. You could never be anybody. You could never go anywhere. You could never possibly dream because it just ain't set up for you to be that way. Why is that? It ain't even 10 o'clock yet. Why is that? Because some of us are comfortable with living with our fears. You've gotten so used to putting them on every day. I know. Here's another one that you put on every day. I know my mama got ready to complain about this. Let me go ahead. Let me go ahead and fix my face. Let me go ahead and fix my answer because I know she about to complain about this. I know my daddy about to say something about this. Let me go ahead and I know my auntie. I know my man is about to say something about this. Let me go ahead and get myself together so I can answer these And here you are steadily putting on limitations. So what would happen today, just for a second, if we breathe and stop? If you take a deep breath through the nose, not through the mouth, through the nose, because when you take a breath through the nose, you concentrate on your breath fully. And you hold it and then let it out through the nose. Don't open the mouth. And just allow yourself just a second of peace. Breathe and stop and give me what you got. Once you breathe and stop, your mind is going to stop just for a second to allow a new thought to come in. And that new thought could possibly be, and I just want to offer a suggestion, JoJo crazy. You can think that. I'm okay with that. Maybe, what if I didn't think about my inner struggle? What if just for this second, I don't have any limitations. I don't have a health problem. I don't have a mental problem. I don't have a money problem. I don't have a house, living, job problem. I have none of these problems. Wow, what could I really do? Just for 1 second. Just think that for 1 second. Take another deep breath and think it again. And before you know it, you're 5 minutes in and you have released some of those constant inner struggles. And you have allowed yourself to think just for a second of your possibilities. Imagine what would happen if you were aware and you are free to focus on the possibilities. Right now, you're not aware. You can't focus. You can't think straight because those inner struggles of what your limitations that you put on every morning, boo, you've gotten used to the weight of them. Think about it this way. If you've ever been to get a massage and your shoulders are up here, but by the time they massage them, you feel like jello and you're so sleepy and you can barely get home, especially if it's a good hot stone massage. I can barely make it home before I go to sleep because things have been taken away that you're used to carrying. Imagine if you breathe and stop, let go of that inner struggle. Think about the possibilities. The weight that would be lifted that you don't even know you carrying. The stresslessness that you would have. Now that you have the opportunity to become aware and you're free to focus on possibilities. Because right now, you're not free to focus on possibilities. You're free to focus on your problems. You're comfortable with holding on to your fear. You're comfortable with that. And that seems to serve you quite well. Some of us don't want to let it go because our fear serves us very well. You have made up your mind to serve your fear. You've made up your mind to have less than. You made up your mind. Because when I was making $12.26 an hour, I had made up my mind that even with 2 bachelor's degrees, that's all I could do. I had made that up in my mind, and I could not see how I could possibly move forward. I couldn't see that. Nope. Couldn't see. I couldn't comprehend it at all because I was insisting on honoring my inner struggles. I was insisting on honoring all my less thanness. I was insisting on that. So on this wonderful, wonderful day, I want you to breathe and stop. Ask yourself this question. Are you dedicated to removing distractions and mental clutter so that you can concentrate with clarity on the real issue? And sometimes, y'all, the issue ain't life. The issue is not external forces. The issue is not mama and them, daddy and them. It ain't your job. It ain't the kids. It's you. It's you. And the moment we begin to, because on this journey, I've been on this journey for 16 years, y'all. 16 long years. And there's something I had to come to realize that I did not like. That 80%, once I left my abuser, okay, 80% of the mess that I continued in all belonged to JoJo. I brought them all in there. And I insisted on honoring my pain. I insisted on honoring my struggles. I insisted on honoring that story as if that was the last story to be told. Remember we talked about that. What is your life statement? What is going to be your life statement? And some of us are honoring our life statements of, I can't, I don't, I won't, I never will, I don't understand. Good morning. Some of us are honoring that. Why? Why are we honoring our limitations? Why have we got so comfortable with our fear that we honor our fear more than we honor our free thought? Why is that? Some people are, and you know, people are comfortable living with their fears. They tell you when you when you suggest, like yesterday we talked about, some people, they have a problem for every solution. This is some people love that. They love their fears so much that before you can offer them a solution, before you can suggest, girl, let's go, they are going to make sure you respect their fear. Ooh, they're going to make sure you respect it, y'all. Come on, I'm getting this. They're going to make sure you respect their fear. They're going to make sure you honor what they're afraid of. They're going to make sure you ain't going past their boundaries. You're going to honor their limitations. They're going to make sure of that. That you are going to honor their fear. You're going to honor their limitations because that's what they do. And just because, and you may be looking at them like they're crazy, but they are honoring their fear. They are dedicated. They are comfortable with all things crazy, chaos, and fear. And how dare you question their limitations when they have begun to love them? Some people absolutely love it. They love their limitations. They love their fears. They love all the things that come along with it. And so before you can even suggest a thing, hey, have you thought about this? Hey, did you think about, no, you need to honor my fear first. I'm afraid of that thing. Some people, they want you to honor their fear. Honor it. Can you go with me? Girl, you know I don't go nowhere. Honor my fear. Can you want to go start this program with me? You want to learn to speak Spanish with me? Girl, no, you know I can't learn no language. Honor my fear. And we do that to ourselves every morning. We do it to ourselves. Every morning you wake up, you look at yourself and you say, self, honor that fear. JoJo, honor your self-limitations. Put them on, boo. You know you missing it. You don't feel that extra weight on your left shoulder like you did yesterday. We're missing that. Can you please put it on? And some people, they're comfortable with their fear. And by God, you're going to honor their fear and their limitations. Well, JoJo, you know, I can't go back to school. I can't come visit you. I can't go because I'm sad. I'm supposed to be in Curacao. I'm supposed to be leaving for Curacao tomorrow. I can't go with you to Curacao. I can't go to Aruba, girl. Why not? You know I'm scared of flying. You know I'm scared of water. You know I'm scared of closed spaces. You know I'm scared of people. You know I don't like going. You know I ain't got no clothes. You know I ain't got no money. You know I ain't looking right. You know my hair won't look right. And here we are. You are forcing me to honor your fear and your limitations. They not mine, but you're forcing me to honor yours. And this is where you can say, I honor you by allowing you to honor your fears. But from this point, I cannot go and you cannot come. I'm going to let you continue to honor your fears, your limitations, and you can sit here. And so let's carry this on. This is how it happens. Once they have insisted that you honor their fears and their limitations, and you go and do, then this person here who's honoring their fear and limitations is mad. Who JoJo thinks she is doing this? Why she always doing something, ain't she? Boo. You the one honoring your fears and limitations, not me. You honoring your self-imposed restrictions, not me. It is my honor. It is my privilege. It is my duty. It is my responsibility to be my sister's keeper, to give you something to think about just for a minute that perhaps will alleviate any pressure. And so today is, you don't have to wear that. You don't have to put those limitations on. As of today, if you put on a limitation, it is a conscious effort decision. You have consciously made a decision that you want to honor your limitations. You want to honor your fear. That is a self-decision. I can't help with that. I'm just saying today, can we breathe and stop and give me what you got? Can you take a deep breath through the nose, not the mouth, and let it out through the nose? Can you just take a deep breath and stop? And in that stopping, can we look at the possibilities for a minute? Can we look at that? Take a minute and get clear on what were you honoring? What were the distractions and the inner struggles that are keeping you so that you can't do this? Don't force me to honor your fears. I'm not going to honor your fears. I'm not going to honor your limitations. That's not what I'm going to do. Because and I'm not saying it doesn't end. I have to look at my own fears and my own limitations every day. I'm 16 years on this journey. And every day I have to every day it is a conscious effort to say, JoJo, you don't have this limitation today. You have a choice whether to pick it up or put it down. You can look at it and say, oh, I see you limitation, not today, and step over it and move forward. Some of us are just comfortable with our fear. We're comfortable with living within the confines of what we cannot do. Because you assume if you step over the confines of what you think you can do, you may fall apart. And I'm a firm believer that some of us, we're not willing to look at our inner struggles. We want to honor our fears. We want to honor our limitations, because when I do that, that is my whole sole responsibility for my whole life. I have no other responsibility to this world. I have no responsibility to go and be great. I have no responsibility to change for my family. I have no responsibility to leave a legacy. I have no responsibility, because my responsibility is to honor this fear. I cannot. I will not. I shall not. You're going to honor that. And you can look at in your family, your friends, and you can see people who honor their fears every day. Y'all, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway, that book, it says 77% of what you're afraid of is here. It's what you're thinking about it. It's not the doing of it. It's what you thought about. It's never in the doing. The doing is the easy part. It's getting past the thinking part that's hard. So on this wonderful day, y'all done got my whole life. And hopefully you have to think about people in your life who insist that you honor their limitations. You know that friend, you know that girlfriend, your mama, your sister, your brother, your daddy. When you come and you say, look, mom, look, girl, look, man, let's do this. This is amazing. And before you're done, they're going to give you their limitations. And they're going to say it proudly. And you got to be okay with that. That they want to honor their limitations. And that's cool. If that's what you want to do. Some people are used to wearing their limitations every day. Well, you know, I'm diabetic and I have health problems. I'm a little overweight. And you want to honor that. Can we get down to the real simple? All of that may be true, but this here is not broken. Your mind is not broken. Every morning you have the intent to think the thought that holds you here. Every day. Every day. Every day. You get up and you have that thought of your own self-limiting beliefs. You have that thought. This is your superpower right here. Your thoughts are free. Your body may be limited. You may have diabetes. You may be overweight. You could have cardio problems. You can be bald-headed. You could have blind in one eye. You can have all of those limitations, but your mind is not broken. And my sister and my brother, that is your superpower. And the minute you understand that your brain will not ooze out of your ears, the minute you give yourself a second to calm that mental clutter, to concentrate with clarity on the real issue of why you're having these constant inner struggles, that moment is when this becomes free, and baby, your body and everything after it will join it. If you are God's girl, the word says, as a man thinketh, that's the first step, boo. That's step one. What are you thinking about? Your mind. It's your superpower, boo. Can you put your S on your chest today? Y'all, that makes me angry. I got a little teary-eyed. That frustrates me to no end, because here I am seeing wonderful people, absolutely wonderful people who could go be amazing. Like they could absolutely change the world today if they realized that their problem was here. It doesn't matter where they live. It doesn't matter that they have no money. It doesn't matter if they're overweight. None of their physical restrictions matter, because this is not broken. And that makes me angry. It makes me angry and frustrated, because it is the simplest of things. That is the hardest thing, because you have insisted on honoring your fears. You have insisted on honoring your boundaries. You have insisted on honoring your restraints and what you cannot do. You love that more than you love life. Some people are comfortable with their fears. And you love your fear more than you love your life. You love your fear because it is comfortable, and it has housed you, and it has led you and guided you. And where would you be without saying you're fearful of something? Who would you be if you couldn't say, well, you know, I can't go because I'm scared of that? Y'all, when I got that out of this book at the Texas airport, San Antonio, I got that. Let me tell you what went away instantaneously. The fear of flying. Honey, I got on that plane and I ate. Because let me tell you, my fear of flying was so strong. I still was flying. This was like my second flight. I was still flying, throwing up every step of the way. Panic attack on 10,000. I had meditation apps, honey. I had everything, and there was nothing helping me. And this right here, this book. Now, this book will hurt your feelings. And this is The Untethered Soul, The Journey Beyond Yourself. This book will hurt your feelings. And it said, why are you really afraid? Some of us are afraid because we have inherited a fear that we never knew we inherited. We're afraid of things that we don't know why we're afraid of. We're just afraid because everybody we know is afraid. And when I read that, I was like, what? And he said, some of you are afraid of things because your mama, your daddy, your sister, they were afraid, and they passed down their fear to you, and you honored their fear and their limitations because you wanted to honor your parents. So you honored their fear. Here I am 3 generations in of my family being afraid of flying, and I never knew why. When I read, y'all, I had worked myself up into such a frenzy that the night before I got sick on the stomach. I couldn't eat the whole night before. I didn't even go to the event that morning. I had plenty of time to go to that event and catch my flight. I couldn't. I was physically in the bed like I couldn't move. I was so sick on the stomach. And I got up and I got dressed and I left for the airport 3 hours early. The airport was less than 5 minutes away. And I'm starving, but I dare not put food in my mouth. I could not eat because I knew I was going to throw up. I knew as soon as I took off, I was going to throw up. Mid-flight, I was going to throw up. And when I landed, I was going to throw up. And I needed to make sure I had everybody's barf bag by me. Excuse me, are you going to use that? I know. Grown woman, I'm having to do that because I'm honoring my grandmother's fear of flying. I'm honoring my mama's fear of flying. I read this, and instantaneously, I realized my brain wasn't going to ooze out of my ears. And I realized I was honoring their fear. It was never mine, because back in the day, I was jumping out of trees. I was climbing a tree. I used to get on my cousin's barn and jump off a 2-story building onto the next tree. But here I am, afraid. When I got that, y'all, honey, they called my flight. In flight, I got something to eat. I got some juice. I watched a movie, honey. I chit-chatted. And I ain't had a problem since. Relieve yourself of those self-imposed restrictions. Stop honoring fear that's not yours. And some of us are doing it because we're comfortable with that. Stop and think about what you're capable of achieving. Up until now, your capacity has been constrained by your constant inner struggles. Imagine what would happen if your awareness was free to focus. Imagine if you did not have all those self-imposed struggles, those self-imposed fears. So I breathe and stop and give me what you got. Think about this. Are you dedicated to removing distractions and mental clutter so that you can concentrate on the clarity of the issue? Can you do that today, boo? Because here's the quote of the day. I've learned over the years that when one's mind is made up, this diminishes fear, knowing what must be done, and does away with fear. And that's by Rosa Parks. I ain't going to say the fear is ever going to go away, but you learn to walk with it and live with it, and you allow that fear never to stop you again. That's how, and y'all, the minute I got over that fear, the second I got over that fear of flying, the next month, 2 months after that, I got over my fear of water. After that, everywhere I went required, because here we are dreaming. Oh, I want to change the world. I want to be an international speaker, but I can't fly to the next state. And the minute I got that, boo, my speaking engagements picked up. Jojo, can you come speak at my event in Aruba? I got you, boo. Fear, because that fear no longer exists for me. Here, every day, you put on your limitations and you insist on wearing them. So on this wonderful day, I want you to have an amazing day. I'm sorry I went on that tangent, but I felt that thing. And it does make me angry. It upsets me greatly. So I hope you have an amazing day. Please make sure you share the show, because sharing is caring. If your friends and family don't have Facebook, send them over to the YouTube channel. They can binge watch all the Fearless Morning shows over there. Breathe and stop today and give me what you got. Give yourself what you got. What's his name? His name is on the tip of my tongue. I can see Q-Tip. Go play that song today. Breathe and stop and give me what you got. Stop and think about what you're capable of achieving. Your brain is not broken. Your mind is not broken. It's not going to ooze out of your ears. Okay? It's not. Don't hold on to mama and them's limitations. They're comfortable with their fear. They're very comfortable with knowing everything that they know right now without knowing anything extra. They're comfortable with that. The question is, are you? Are you comfortable with what you know right now and never moving past that? That's the question. I need to write that down. Are you comfortable with that? Because if you are, then you don't have to do anything. Because if you're comfortable with what you know right now, and you're comfortable without ever moving past that point of knowledge, then I'm happy for you. And that is the hardest accepting thing that I've ever had to do in my whole life. So that is your thought for the day. I hope you have an amazing day. Please make sure you share the show, because sharing is caring. If this has helped you, I didn't mean to yell at y'all. But yeah, it makes me upset. It truly makes me upset. Because I truly want people to understand that sometimes the limitations are not real. They're self-imposed. And that if you could just breathe and stop for a second and allow yourself the space to think differently, you won't die. You won't. Don't count a no you've never received. Sometimes that's you. You're telling yourself no before you can even think a good thought. Live in purpose, not perfection. Perfection lives inside what we are called to do, and that is named purpose. So on this wonderful day, I hope you have an amazing day. I hope you share the show. If this has helped you, please let me know. I greatly appreciate it, so I know that I'm not talking to myself. And I will see you guys here bright and early tomorrow morning. Have a good one.